For this part of writing an advice letter, that we said that we have at maximum we are required to give three advices. For your advice of phrase, we said that you can start by saying you could or you should or you really could, should, you really ought to, or why don't you. All these are phrases for giving advice. How about what about have you thought of this type of phrase should be followed by gerund, I mean verb plus ing, or followed by noun? Or we can use the if I were you, I would. It means that if I was in the same position, I do I do that. It means that I try to give him an advice by using if I were you. Here I use were, not was, with I, as we know. This is the second rule for so the second conditions of if. The second case of the rule of if, we can use where, not was, with the pronoun I. Or you can say, I should space if I were you. Or the best thing you can do is, or it would be a good idea if you plus past tense, okay? Or sentence in the past. Or I can say for him, try to, or remember to, or don't forget to do anything that can be helpful for your friend. Or we can say, whatever happens, try to do, or try to remember, or whatever happens, remember to do, or don't forget, okay? Whatever happens, or whatever you do, don't forget to do. This is I'm trying to give him an advice. All what we saw in front of us is a phrases that we can, these phrases can be used to give an advice for our friend when we write an advice letter. And we said that we must have a type of variation. You need to use several item or several way for giving advice. You can, for example, use one time you could, another time how about, or then you can use if I will. Don't use the same phrase, okay? To make variation for your advice. And now let's complete our study for this part. Language point. I want someone to start reading for the third advice that we can follow. Okay, Mazen, you asked it at
Mhm.
first.
Yes.
Yeah, yes, Mazen.
Okay. Language point. The phrase "do some exercise" means exercise in a general sense as a opposite to
So
inactive,
as opposed in to inactivity.
sense as opposed to an inactivity, and in meant for someone who spends all time of sitting watching television,
Yes,
yes, television or missing the back screen.
you can see.
Yes, yes,
Huh.
because when you open it, okay,
Okay, okay.
television or studying all the time. Do not confuse with exercise. There are fixed there there these are a fixed sequence of moments performed performed for a specific
For a specific reason, for example, warm
for
up
example warm up
exercise.
exercise.
Yes.
Active phrase plus fake it.
Advice phrase.
Advice phrase plus
Advice phrase. Take it easy
plus
or take it gently at first. Don't overdo it. Or warm up,
warm
or do some warm up exercise. This is an advice for someone who put on weight. Okay, I try to help him. Okay, complete for the sentence. How can we write it? You ought. Can you read, Nazin? Huh?
yes, you ought to do some warm up exercise. Whatever happened, whatever happens, do not forget to take it easy at first. Whatever you do, don't overdo it.
Wait, Nazin, thanks. Some students raise their hand. Do you have any problem? Yes, Hussein. Hussein.
No, no,
Yes.
mister. I was raising my hand to read.
Okay, worry. Don't worry. Okay. And also, Abdul Fattah, the same. The same Abdul Fattah, you want to read?
Yes, mister. I want to read,
Okay,
mister.
okay, okay. Thank you, Mazen. We
You're
can
welcome.
select Hussein at first, then Abdel Fattah, okay? Please don't forget to lower your hand after you raise it, please. Okay, Hussein, can you start? Yes, Hussein.
Yes,
Sorry,
mister.
Hussein, you are with me?
Yes, I'm with you, but there is a black thing I can't read.
Okay, huh. Now you can see?
Yes,
Okay.
uh, mister, you ought to.
No, start from
Oh,
notice how the phrase don't overdo it changes. Huh.
notice how the phrase "don't overdo it" changes.
Yes,
You really should not overdo it. If I were you, I would not overdo it. Try not to overdo it.
yes,
Remember not to overdo it. Don't forget not to overdo it.
yes. As we said, for anything, for any idea that I give, I need to support my idea by giving what Hussein.
By giving
How can I support any idea that I have?
reason.
Yes, by giving the reason. Yes, excellent, Hussein. So here, complete the reading for this part. Give a
Give
reason.
a reason. Finally, you need to give your friend a reason for carrying out your advice. In other words, you need to support your ideas in order to make them acceptable to your friend.
Yes, at
Advice
first they
phrase.
start with an advice phrase by saying, for example, huh?
Have you thought of plus noun plus noun or
Or
verb
gerund.
plus ing?
Yes, verb ing. This is called gerund. Okay, it has the same function of the noun. Okay,
And
then support.
support will
Yes,
help or make you.
yes. In this case, I support my advice by giving the reason why this advice it can be suitable for you. Okay, complete reading for this sentence. Huh? Note
Note
how.
how the sentence builds up.
Yes,
I know you are not the world's most energetic person, but have you thought of taking
taking
up
up.
walking?
Yes, it will make
It will
you
make you feel fitter.
feel fitter. Yes, the supportive
The
phrase
support
should also
phrase
be
should
very
also
similar.
be very simple.
Yes,
It will help you feel fitter, make you feel better,
or it will
do
make you feel better, or it will do you good, or it will be good for you.
for you.
And complete the rest,
It
please.
will help you lose weight or keep fit, also in shape.
Or it will help you keep in shape. Yes,
It
it will
will
give
give
you
you more
more.
energy. It will help you get rid that spare tire of yours, tone
Yes,
up those happy muscles of yours.
yes, for this part that we read here, this is a support for your advice. How can you support it? By stating the reason for your advice. Why give him this advice? For the one who put on weight, as we said, for example, he said, I know you aren't the world's most energetic person, but have you thought of taking up walking? It will make you feel fitter. It will make you feel better. It will do you good. In this case, I support my advice by stating the reason. Okay, I hope that you understood this part, all of you. If I want to support any idea that I need to support it, I support it by stating the reason. Okay, we can select another one. Thank you, Hussein, so much. Abdel Fattah,
Yes, mister.
yes.
Um,
Start
producing
read
informative.
this part another way for giving advice with support. He said, why don't you this one?
Okay. Bismillah. Why don't you join a sports club? It will tone up those flappy muscles of yours, and be a good way to get to know people too.
Yeah. Or what
What
about?
What
Yes.
about taking up tennis? It will do you good and help you keep in shape at the same time.
So when you give the advice, as you said, what about taking up tennis? Then I support it by stating the reason why. If I said suggest for him to taking up tennis because I can say it will do you good and help you keep in shape at the same time. Now we have an exercise we want to select here. He said, identify the good points and the problems in the following sentence from advice letter. Read Abdul Fattah, please.
Yes. You should also try to concentrate more during school hours. Another helpful piece of advice is to try to look over your past exams, find your mistakes, and correct them.
This way is correct for giving an advice.
Uh,
Did you use here phrases of advice? You only use the word should, yes?
yes.
So this one is acceptable?
No.
No. Okay, let's read number two.
I think you should make new friends and you should also get to know other people because, as you know, it's very difficult for someone to live on their own. I think you should also try to do sport, as this would give you the chance to get together with people who have the same interests as you.
Yes, did you find anything that is not acceptable in this sentence, in this phrase that you read? He said, I think you
No.
should make new friends and you should. Here he used the same phrase, yes, should and you should, for advice. And we
Hmm.
said we need for what? For variety, yes?
Yes.
Yes, so can you read number three?
Yes. You can invite students from school to one of your great parties, and I'm sure they will love it. The best thing you can do is to spend 2 or 3 weekends with them, and they may take you to new places.
Yes, this one is suitable here, acceptable.
No.
He said you can invite students from school to one of your great parties, and I am sure they will love it. The best thing you can do is to spend 2 or 3 weeks with them, and they may take you through the new place to new places. For the previous advice that we have, I think you should make new friends and you should also get to know other people because, as you know, it is very difficult for someone to live on their own. I think you should, in this way, there is no variation. I think which one is the one that is acceptable here is number three. Okay, Abdul
Yes.
Fattah, yes?
Okay.
You agree
Yes.
with
Yes.
me?
Yes.
Okay, okay. For exercise, for said use a selection of the phrase studied to write the body of a letter of advice to a friend who has moved to a new area and is feeling lonely. I want you to try to all of you to do this exercise at your homework in the notebook, please. Select any say any phrase from advice. Okay, you set a selection of the phrases studied. Write the body of a letter of advice to a friend who has moved to a new area and is feeling lonely. Okay?
Only the body.
The
No.
body,
Not
yes,
the
only the
letter.
body, okay? This will
Okay.
be is a part of your homework. It's not ready in the weekly plan, but I ask you to do it, okay? Please. And send to me. Send to me when you finish, okay?
Okay, Mister.
Thanks, Fatah. Now we are going to complete for how can we end our an advice letter by using conclusion. Akram?
Yes, mister.
Yes, Akram. You raise your hand. Do you have a question or you want to read?
I want to read.
Okay, Akram. Read. Start reading.
Conclusion of an advice letter. As with descriptive letters, begin your conclusion with a generalization and return to the topic in the introduction. Well, I hope this gives you some idea what to do about. Be positive and optimistic. Do not write good luck or I hope this helps. Instead, write something like joining a sport club, cutting down on junk food, worked
Yes.
for me, my sister, my brother, my friend. So I am sure it will. It's bound to. I know it's will. Of course it will. Why shouldn't it work for you? Do
Yes,
as which
with Akram. When you want to end your an advice letter, don't say, well, I hope this give you some ideas what to do about, okay? But When you don't write here, said good luck or I hope this helps. But instead of this phrase, you can say joining a sport club or joining a sport club or cutting down on junk food. Or I can say work it for me, so I am sure it will work for you too. Okay, this is a phrase that you can use to end an advice letter for conclusion. Okay, or you can say for him, work it for my sister, so it's bound to work for you too. Or work it for my brother, so I know it will work for you too. Work it for my friend, so of course it will work for you too. Okay, this phrase that we can use to end our an advice letter.
Complete.
Just wait, just wait, please. Just wait for me, please, all of you.
Okay.
Yes,
Complete.
yes, complete.
As with the descriptive letters, try to personalize again before you conclude the letter by showing your interest. This shows that your concern for your friend is not only while you write the letter. You want to be kept informed about the situation, and you also want to know if your advice has helped your friend in any way.
Yes, you can say
Do
what?
right Do right and let me know how you get on things to go. It goes to
Yes, to encourage your friend even more. Finish with
finish with
friendly
encouragement. I
encouragement.
will I will be thinking of you.
Yes. Fourth exercise that we have is said use a selection of the phrase studied to write the conclusion for you for an advice letter. Here we have exam style for the question of an advice letter. He said write a letter of advice to a friend who needs to take up a fitness program. Okay? This question, instead of writing the body only that I ask from you, do this one as a homework. Do this one as a homework. Exercise question one. Okay? You can hear me well? Are you sorry? By mistake. Yes. Yes. You can hear me well, all of you?
Yes, Mister.
Yes. For question one, you can do it as a homework.
Yes.
Okay?
Mr. يعني question 1 and
Mr.
question 4.
No, no. Question one only. That's enough for you. Write a letter, a full
Okay.
letter.
Mister,
Okay?
what's today's homework?
Okay.
Can you write it?
Okay. For the homework that we studied in the novel, chapter two, you will answer it in the booklet. Okay? This question, you don't have this copy of the book. Please write this question now, okay, to know what we will do. He said, write a letter of an advice to a friend who needs to take up a fitness program. Please copy it now in a notebook. Copy it. I am waiting for you to copy this line. You are writing now. You are writing. Read it.
Yes, Mister.
You are writing the question now.
Mr. But can you remove the
I
screen?
remove. I remove. But I am asking you. You are writing.
Just only 1 minute. يعني only 1
Okay.
minute.
Okay. Okay. I am waiting for you.
Mr. How many parts you will divide?
You mean how many words? The one who asked, you ask about the number of words or what? The one who asked, you ask about the number of words?
Yes.
No, Mister.
Okay.
I ask about how many parts you will divide our notebook.
We said two sections, one for grammar and one for writing. Okay?
And
For
you-
this,
you-
for this letter, as I told you, we will deal with an extended paper. I mean IGSCE exam. So you are required to write between 150 words to 200. Okay, in grade
Mr.
7,
Mr.
yes, in them. In grade 7, you started by 100
We moved
words,
down,
yes? Yes?
moved down the yes.
Okay.
No, we write it between 80 and 150.
This is
100
in
and
grade 7, yes, in grade 7. But this year, you are required to write between 150 to 200 words.
Mr.
Okay?
Mr. Mr. The homework of the writing this of fitness program Mr. write يعني write all يعني write all يعني write all a letter or write a body or like this يعني.
All the letter, yes.
Okay.
Introduction,
Send it
body,
for you today.
conclusion. Introduction, body,
Send it today,
conclusion.
Mr.
Yes.
Mister, it can be in the weekend or it should be today.
Send it today with the homework of novel.
What is the homework of novel?
I'll write the notebook and send it to you.
Mister, and what is the homework of the novel?
Homework of novel, as I told you, chapter 2. I wrote in the group. Chapter 2, page, I think page.
All of
19.
the questions
All
of
the,
answer to?
oh yes, chapter 2, all the question. And after I finish, I send you the answer key of this chapter.
Mr.
Chapter 1
Divide the
and 2. Okay?
Mr.
Yes.
Divide the notebook into novel and writing.
No, you'll answer the homework of novel in the booklet. Okay?
Mr. What is the homework of the novel?
Chapter 2.
Okay.
Okay?
So you write the writing in the notebook and send it to
Sir,
you.
all chapter 2 you will solve all chapter 2.
Huh?
All
Yes, my
chapter
dear.
2, Mr.
Chapter 2 in the novel. Okay? All the chapter, all the
يعني
chapter.
all or they are recommended
No,
pages.
all. You have the book, all of you, I think. You received the book, and I have.
Mr.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Divide the notebook into two parts, novel and writing.
No, writing and grammar.
Oh,
Okay?
okay. Okay.
Writing.
Have you finished
Then
question 1? Have you
yes,
Yes,
write a
finished?
yes.
letter for
Okay. Can I move for an example for how can we answer this type of question? We can see together students' answer and try to avoid the mistake that he get in for this student. This is an example. This is an example. You follow me? You finished writing the question, yes? Okay, open your mic. You follow me now, please?
Yes,
Yes,
Mister.
Mr. Yes,
Okay,
Mr.
okay.
Mr.
Sir, we
We read
finish.
the question.
Yes,
You didn't write, Anas?
Sir, if we finish, Mr. When you finish, Mr. Close screen, share screen, because the teacher Wala, when she came, she thought that you was يعني you was
Okay, okay, okay. She thought that I
you,
was in the
and she
session.
said yes.
Okay, okay, okay. I stopped this sharing the screen after I finished
Mr.
my.
Can you remove the blank
Okay, my
square?
dear. Okay, my dear. This is a question that we said. Okay, write a letter of advice to a friend who has been told to go on a fitness program. This is a question that we will do homework. We will do as a homework. The answer that we have in front of us, this is answer for a student. And we have comments for what he did in the introduction, in the body, in the conclusion. For at first, we start in general, as we said before, we are required to start by using the word dear, then we write the name of your friend. And then you start by greeting. How are you? It was nice to hear from you, or it was lovely to hear from you, as you can. start our introduction from yesterday. He said, I am sorry, I haven't written for so long. As we said here, for number one, apologize introduction inappropriate for advice letter. Do you remember? May I ask you, do you remember what I said yesterday? I want to participate with me. Do you remember what I said yesterday for advice for apologize?
Uh,
We said
Yes.
that is apologize is not acceptable when you write an advice letter, yes?
mm,
Yes, the mistake that the student here get in for this mistake that he do that he used a sentence for apologize. He said, I am sorry I haven't written for so long, and this is not appropriate for an advice letter. Okay? Okay? And the second mistake that he had, or second comment that he had, he said, anyway, when you mention how you need to regain your fitness, number he said, in your last letter, I looked through some sport guides to get an idea. How can I start my advice by saying get an idea? So I'm supposed to say what? Like, who can tell me if I want to write a phrase for idea? Muhammad Hatem. If I want to write a phrase of advice, Muhammad Hatem. For the one who will not open his mic, I decrease his mark in the participation. Muhammad Hatem. I ask you to unmute. According to the school rules, for the one who doesn't let me open his mic and participate with me, according to the school rules, I decrease his mark in the participation. Okay, it's up to you. Ziad Ahmed.
yes,
Ziad.
Mister.
Yes, Ziad. For a phrase of advice, can I say get an idea or what can I say for if I want to give him an advice?
Mister, can you repeat the question?
Here
I
you
didn't
said,
understand.
okay, here you said, anyway, when you mentioned how you need to regain your fitness in your last letter, I looked through some sports guides to get an idea of what might help you. This way is acceptable way to start my advice for my friend.
No.
So what the phrase that we said that we can use, for example,
Um,
I can say, for example, anyway, when you mentioned how you need to regain your fitness, you should, yes,
yes,
yes, you should what?
you should regain your fitness, your fitness. Um,
No, and this is not. I can say for him, when you mentioned how you need to regain your fitness, huh? You should look through some sports guide, yes,
yes,
to get an idea of what might help you. This is a way of,
yes.
this is a phrase, this is an advice phrase. Okay,
Okay,
thanks, Ziad. Again, for the one who doesn't participate with me during the session, ask him to unmute, and he refused to unmute for his mic. I decrease his mark in the participation. To be agreed together, please. Muhammad Hatim, can you hear me? Muhammad Hatim, can you hear me? The last call for Muhammad Hatim. Can you hear me? Okay, it's up to you,
Yes,
Muhammad Hatim.
Mister.
It's up to you. Yes, mister?
Yes, Mister. Yes, Mister. I hear you.
Okay, at first I asked you a question and you don't open your mic. Why?
Mister, the mic was lagging. It was
Was closed?
mic, so I plugged in the mic now.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thanks, Muhammad. Please, when I ask any question, participate with me, please. Because it's not allowed, okay? If I ask any question and ask you to unmute, please make unmute for your mic. Okay. For number three, there is a repetition for the idea that he said here. I want someone to read, please, for this paragraph. Yes, Malik. Malik Jamal. Where is Malik? Yes, Malik.
Yes, mister.
Yes, can you read this paragraph?
Yes.
Anyway,
Anyway, when you mentioned how needed to regain your fitness
yes,
in your last letter, I looked through some sports cues to get an idea of what might help you. I thought it would be a good idea for you to start off by jogging every day for about an hour or so. But if you prefer working in groups, you ought to consider joining an aerobic class or swimming seasons.
yes,
If I were you, I would join in swimming seasons.
yes. Here he
They
said that number four, he said, number three, sorry, number three, there is a repetition.
rotation.
What is repetition that he said here?
Swimming seasons.
Yes, before it, he said what here? But if you prefer working in groups, you ought to consider joining an aerobic class or swimming sessions. Yes?
Yes, he
Then
repeated.
he said, if I were you, I join in swimming session. The same thing, yes?
Yes,
So
yes,
repetition is not allowed, it's not
yes,
acceptable when you write an advice. Yes?
yes.
Thanks, Malik.
Welcome.
We need for another one to tell us about the fourth comment for Hashim. Yes, Hashim? Hashim? Hashim, can you open your mic, please? I repeat again, for the one who refused to open his mic, according to the
نعم
school.
مستر نعم نعم
Yes,
نعم.
yes, you are faster than. Okay. Now, Hashim. Hashim number four.
Number
Complete.
4.
Yes, completing. It said they help you get it. Sorry, they help you get fit. Okay. They also relax you, and at the same time, it's a quiet fun in the wood. What's in this sentence also?
Read
This is also what here.
also relax you.
I said they help you get fit. They also relax you. Get fit, relax you. There is also here the same meaning. Yes, I think there's a repetition. Yes.
Yes.
So as he said here for number four, for the comment, he said they relax you too. Also, there is what here, there is a repetition for the same idea. As he said, if I were you, I join swimming session. And before it, he said, you ought to consider joining an aerobic class or swimming sessions. This also an advice, and this one is the same, but he used different phrase. This is type of repetition, and it's not acceptable. Who can suggest for us another idea for advice or another phrase for advice? Huh. Who can suggest another phrase for advice instead of this one that has a repetition? Just raise your hand, please. Okay, Abdullah? Yes, Abdullah.
Yes, Mister, again the question.
Can you suggest another idea for giving advice about this one for exercise program?
Exercising.
Yes, he said here, if I were you, I'd join in swimming session. And you said that there is repetition before because
If
he
I were
said,
you, if I
yes,
were you, I will go to the gym.
yes, it's acceptable advice because it's different from the previous one. Thanks, Abdullah. Another one can give me another idea? Thanks so
Mister,
much,
Mister, Mister,
Yes,
Mister, the teacher came.
session
The teacher
finished?
came.
Okay. With who?
Yes,
Who?
teacher Nariwan.
Okay.